Welcome back, YouTube pipe smokers. Mutton Chop Piper here. Well, today's video is entitled Let's Talk Tobacco. Flake Tobacco. This is a new series that I'm going to start. We're going to discuss the types of tobacco that are out there, maybe the proper way to prepare the tobacco, what things you need to look out for as you're smoking the tobacco, so forth and so on. So today's volume 1, and we're going to talk about flake tobacco. Now, first, I want to read you a little bit of history about flake tobacco and how flake tobacco got its name. When and where the first flake tobacco was made is lost to history. But what is known is that pressed tobacco was invented to solve a problem. 300 to 400 years ago, smoking tobacco in a pipe was the most popular way to smoke tobacco in Europe, especially among sailors of the time. At that time in history, production of pipe tobacco was in its infancy, and the only way it was produced was spun or loose tobacco. For sailors of the time, this was a problem, because on long voyages the tobacco would become dry with less taste. The sailors would employ many methods to try and combat this problem. Among them were adding water to the tobacco to keep it moist, or packaging the tobacco in canvas and sealing it with liquid tar to keep it moist. But this method gave the tobacco a tarry taste. Others would boil water and sugar to make syrup that was then poured over the tobacco. This method gave the sailors tobacco that tasted better and also retained its moisture. The syrup made the tobacco fatty and acted as a binder when the tobacco was pressed together with the hands, which solved two problems. Due to the reduced surface area, the tobacco stayed moist longer. Plus, it took up less space, which was good for the sailors aboard ships with tight quarters. This method eventually came to the attention of the major tobacco companies of the time, and after some trial and error, the first massively produced pressed tobacco was ready for purchase. The pressed tobacco was sliced into thin sheets that we now call flakes. It has been called other names, like slices and navy cut. So as you can see, the reasons flake tobacco came to be was because sailors of the time, they were really the ones that smoked tobacco the most. I mean, they were really addicted to it. Not addicted like we are today, but they just really enjoyed it. Gave them something to do on the ship that would break up the day. But, you know, if they carried loose tobacco on ship with them, it would get dried out fairly quick, and it would lose its taste, and there was no point. So like it said in the story I just told you, that they used a syrup made of water and sugar to press it together, and then once it dried, it took up less space, and it stayed moist longer. All right, now there's some different tobaccos here that I'm going to talk about. Let me show you the ones that I'm going to tell you what the flake looks like and how to prepare some of it. All right, you've got Orlick Dark Strong Kentucky. You got Solani Aged Burley Flake. Have Samuel Gawith Full Virginia Flake. And you have Scandinavian Tobacco Company's Escudo. Now, the flake comes in different varieties, different looks. Let's go over the Dark Strong Kentucky first. Mine's kind of, see if you can see that. I don't know if you can or not, but the Dark Strong Kentucky has got the Kentucky on the outside and the Virginia on the inside. But it is a flake. But it's, you know, kind of like a quarter the size of a piece of bacon. It's a little square there. And then you've got the Escudo, which is actually cut into a coin shape. And what they do here is they take the tobacco and they spin it into rods, and then they cut the end of it to make a small coin. You'll see how thin that is. Hopefully you can see it. Then the Solani Burley Flake is made into about a half the size of a piece of bacon, and it is nice and thin. It's sliced nice and thin. And then you have the Samuel Gawith, which is about a little bit more than half the size of a piece of bacon, but it is sliced a lot thicker. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's sliced a lot thicker. Out of all these, I like all of them. I like the texture of all of them, but I really don't like the full Virginia flake or any Samuel Gawith flake, because for me it's just cut too thick. It's like a piece of leather, so it's really hard to rub out. It's really hard to fold and put into your pipe. Now let me, I meant to get a pipe here. Get a pipe. All right. Now, in some of my other videos, I've talked about taking these flakes and actually breaking them up to where they're into a ribbon form. But I found that if you just fold it and you kind of wad it and put it into the pipe, it brings out the flavor a lot better. I don't really fold mine. You can fold it long ways and then fold it again and then stuff it into the pipe and then light it from there. I don't have a lot of luck with that. What I do is I do the fold and sort of wad into a ball. I don't break it up, but then again, I don't leave it in its natural state. I sort of wad it a little bit and then stuff it. So let me show you. I'm going to use the Escudo. I'm not going to ruin the other forms of tobacco, but let me show you how I do this. I take the Escudo and I bend it in half, and then it starts to break up, so then I kind of wad it into a ball. You see that? See how that is? And once it's into a ball like that, then I just stuff it down into the pipe, like so. Usually takes two of these coins to fill a medium-sized bowl. So that's how that works. I just kind of fold it and then I wad it into a ball, and stuff it into the pipe. Now I do the same thing with the others, except for the full Virginia flake. I kind of cut that into little cubes, and I stuff it in that way. It's just too thick. It's like rubber, you know. You kind of try to bend it, and it just wants to unfold itself. So, but the others, I do the same. I fold it, and then I wad it into a ball, and then I put it down into the pipe. Now you can do it any way you want. You can fold and stuff, if that's your preference. You can fold it and wad it into a ball like I do, or you can completely break it apart into ribbons and then load it into your pipe. A lot of these flakes come moist, so I would suggest that you let it dry for an hour or so, or just kind of keep an eye on it after the first half hour and check and see if it's dried out a little bit. Okay, well, that's Flake Tobacco. We've learned a little bit of history of the flake. We have learned what the flake looks like, and we've learned how to stuff it into our pipes. Either the fold method, the roll it into a ball method, or the breaking up of the tobacco into ribbon method. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And until my next video, I want to wish you and your family happy piping.